Honorable, welcome to our program.
Good evening.
Yes. Outcomes of the litigations, especially in respect to governorship at the Plateau.
I'm getting audio.
Yes, I said, let me have your take on the outcome of the election petition, which sacked Governor Goshwe. Did it come to you as expected, or you were entertaining serious fear ahead of the verdict at the Court of Appeal?
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Honorable.
Okay, the outcome of the legal tussle in Plateau, of course, to persons who are not only are keen observers, but who know what it takes to run a political party and a campaign, we know very well that it's not a surprise to us, actually, that it has ended the way it is now, at least for the time being. One thing that is, baffling people like me who have been in politics for quite some time and who have been party administrators is that now we're having a set of people that think they can run a party without laws, without rules. And that is just not unacceptable. Parties are institutions created by law. They are pillars of democracy. Things that are essentially running a party is, first and foremost, you have the party constitution, which also derives its power from the Electoral Act, because the INEC is the institution that is responsible for registering political parties. It registers parties according to the Electoral Act, which INEC superintends on behalf of the nation. And then, of course, the Electoral Act, or INEC itself, derives its powers from the Constitution. So a violation of the party rules by implication is a violation of the Electoral Act. A violation of the Electoral Act is by implication a violation of the Constitution of Nigeria. But people don't seem to see it that way. They think they can run parties with impunity and get away with it, or that parties are their own and they can run it the way they want and nobody can interfere, as they used to say, that it's internal affairs of the party. No, it's not internal affairs of the party. It's a creation of the law, and the law must be obeyed. Just as you quoted the Chief Justice, His Lordship, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, who said the law is the law, and it remains the law.
Yes, and that's why I actually asked this question in order to go back to the tidbit where the Chief Justice of Nigeria said, from all indications, judges are being mobbed. I mean, they are being harassed by people who, certain decisions by learned judges do not go their way. Now, do you think that what the Chief Justice said will resonate with, different groups in the country?
Hello, please repeat that.
Yes, I said I asked the first question I asked, which you also now responded and made reference to what the Chief Justice of Nigeria said. I said, I'm in tune with what he said, that justices are being mobbed, meaning they are being harassed by a section of Nigerians simply because they are doing their work.
Yes, that is it, and it's very unfortunate that even the elites, for selfish reasons, have joined what I will call the mob on the street, because there are people that ordinarily, who are supposed to be learned, enlightened, but they will join the social media, blogs, and then they continue behaving like that. Issues of law are issues of law. Matters of law are supposed to be treated as matters of law. And as I said earlier on, we are ruled by laws. No matter what we do, we are ruled by laws. And it's unfortunate that we seem to be carried away by our own perceptions, individually and collectively, and that determines how we treat very vital and important national institutions like judiciary. We've subjected it to a lot of ridicule, which is very, very unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate. But going through what happened, especially in the Plateau case, what the whole thing centers around what happened within the PDP before the elections. how they ran the party, whether they were, running according to the rules or not, and then what turned out the fate of the party after a series of litigations by members of the party. If they say it's an internal, of course it's an internal and it ended internal. And what the APC did was simply to say that, look, ab initio, these people shouldn't even have been in the election because they had run foul of the law. And the law has made a pronouncement, the courts have made a pronouncement on them, which ordinarily should have been upheld. But you see, we have a situation whereby the INEC as an institution has been kind of hamstrung by the law, and especially the Electoral Act and certain judgments of the courts, which removed INEC powers in terms of deciding who contests for election, especially in areas of matters of screening. Before now, INEC had wide powers to screen candidates and even disqualify candidates. Now, it's not really like that. So that's one of the problems, and I think in the long run, we have to even revisit the Electoral Act to address these issues, so that at least these issues will be, the issue of screening will be both a party and INEC matter, as it used to be in the past. In the past, INEC will screen candidates. Even the security agencies do screen candidates in the past. And then, of course, INEC had the final say. INEC had the power to even seek for, information about the candidate from relevant agencies that, are so important. But now it's not the case, and that's why we're having the problem. So I think when people get to know that, of course, this is how it should be done, and it should be done that way, it will reduce some of these problems, and it will reduce the burden and then of much denigration of the judiciary, which is very unfortunate.
Yes. Honorable, many people are making reference to utterances by a certain member of your party, the APC, that it is who you know, that people will see whether it is APC or it is PDP that will ultimately sway at the end of all the litigations. He was not really making reference to Plateau State alone, but going by what is happening in other places, like in Nasarawa, like in Kano, and all that. Don't you think that some of your members, maybe carried away by the euphoria of success, they are going overboard and then, dragging the judiciary to ridicule?
Sorry, I didn't get that clearly. You say people are making reference to certain utterances of a member of our party. So I didn't get that one clearly.
Yes, that, the member of the party was saying that it is about who you know in the judiciary, and you people in APC know many people, and I know for in Plateau.
Well, okay. Let me say.
Yeah.
Okay.
The relationship
let me say that I have not come
Court of Appeal and former Governor Lalong and all that. Yes.
I have not come across that statement. I know as was being is being referenced. And incidentally, you two are making reference to it now. I just got to know about it, I think, this afternoon, when somebody was saying that a member of our party, has said that the Supreme Court will show who we know and something like that. I didn't hear it, and there was no even mention of his name. But I think whoever it was, he must have been quoted out of context, or he must have been, maybe a slip of tongue. But I don't think he meant to say it the way it was, or it's been referenced. So I think members of our party are responsible people, and they all believe in the rule of law. We respect the law. At the first instance, when we lost the case at the tribunal, we behaved with decorum. We didn't embark on denigrating or abusing members of the judiciary. We didn't call any names, and then of course we were calm and we went about it respectfully as law-abiding citizens, appealing to the court, taking the matter to the Court of Appeal, and then of course, now that the Court of Appeal, has given its verdict, which is what as party members with a genuine case, we expect, of course, that we will get justice there, and we got it. I don't think any member of our party will go out of his way to make comments that are really unpalatable or really not tune with our character as party members and loyal citizens of this country. So I think that really is a mistake.
Okay. Would you like to make a comment on the conflicting judgment in Kano? Or you think it was truly, typographical errors, as they said, the appeal.
Well, I think the judgment in Kano, people are making so much hype about it, but I think there have been judgments like that in the past. If you recall, how the late how Senator McCarthy, former governor of Kaduna State, got his seat back from Senator Baba Ahmed. It was just in similar circumstances. McCarthy took the case to tribunal in Kaduna, and one of his prayers, and of course, was that there were illegitimate or illegal votes counted, invalid votes counted among the votes counted. And one of their prayers was that they wanted a recount of the votes. And there was a recount. And so many votes were found to be unsigned and unstamped. And that made them invalid votes. And then, of course, at the end of it, the votes that were, counted, valid votes that were counted, turned out to be more in his favor than Senator Baba Ahmed. And I think McCarthy went back to the Senate after, Senator Deti left the Senate after having spent some time in the Senate as a result of that. There were so many cases like that, and I think it is important that people in politics should try and recast their mind back to some of these things that have happened in the past, and to know that, of course, the Kano one is not a precedent. Maybe it is the one that is affecting a governor for the first time, and people are trying to make a lot of, thing out of it, issue out of it. But it is not the first. It has happened. It has, happened in many instances in the past, but mostly with legislative seats. But now that it's been happening, it has happened to a governor. People feel that, of course, there are wrongs and so on, or maybe the number of votes. But that's notwithstanding, regardless of whatever it is. When PDP took over Zamfara, they had less than 1/3 of the votes of APC. They had less than 1/3 of the votes APC scored in that election. But they sold the whole seats in the state, including the governorship, and nobody said anything about it. So you can look at it.
All right. If time permits, we'll certainly go back to this issue of vote count and then the conflicting judgment in Kano. But back to Plateau. What is your Muftwan now heads to the Supreme Court?
Hello?
I said, what is your expectation as Muftwan has moved to Supreme Court to what is his mandate? Yes.
I don't want to preempt that. It's prejudicial now that the matter is before the Supreme Court, but I believe the justice in the Supreme Court will do justice to the matter.
Okay. Then what about prospect of good governance in Plateau State? Because so many things are already happening, which I will mention as we continue to discuss the issue. What is the prospect of a better governance under the APC if it works out in its favor?
Well, the prospects of better governance under Nentawe are many. Very many prospects, of better governance, because we are more prepared than the PDP. Nentawe had a vision for Plateau. He's an intellectual. He's somebody that has a vision for Plateau, and he has a very good team surrounding him, around him, that will help in piloting the affairs of the state to the glory of God and all of us that really work for APC. So, from what we've seen so far, the PDP, the 6 months they've had in government in Plateau, they have actually nothing to show on ground. And then, of course, it doesn't look as if this is a government that has a program for Plateau. If you look at it, all the crises that we've had within this period, there was no any real move by the government to end the crisis. There was no any action on the part of the government. Just people were, the security agencies did more in terms of bringing the people together and addressing the issues, much more than the government. And we could see that it's a government that is really not on sound footing. It's dilly-dallying. It has no clear direction as to what to do. But there are no results, actually. There are no results. And so the prospects are very dim if we allow them to continue. So we are praying that God will, give us.
Yes, I say process of good governance. It was actually deliberate because you recall that 3 days to the Appeal Court Judgement in respect to some of the litigations around the State House of Assembly, you know, the Speaker of the State House Assembly, you know, he resigned. His deputy also, you know, resigned, and then a member of YPP in the person of Dewan Gabriel emerged as Speaker. What did you make out of this unceremonious resignation of the former Speaker? Let me put it that way.
That speaks to the whole of confusion, or the lot of confusion that we have on ground in Plateau State. If the PDP members resign, the Speaker resigned, there are still APC members in the House who are up to 7 in number. If there are no PDP members, the 7 APC plus 1 YPP member constitute 1/3 of the membership of the legislature. It's quite a quorum enough, quite a good quorum enough for them to continue with the business of legislation in the House. So, you know. Now, if he's resigning, then why didn't they carry the other APC members along in deciding who will be the next Speaker? They just, you know, gather themselves in a small room at the government house, and then they decided what is to be done. Close the legislature and say, the House of Assembly, and say it will resume only in January. Only in January for 2 months, 2 months to 6. What for? What reason? But it tells you about the whole confusion that is going on in the state. You go to ministries, there are virtually no people in office. Workers are not there because they just have nothing to do. The supervisory office, like commissions and what have you, are not really on ground. They are not really on ground. Everybody is jittery, then they are getting confused. If they really have a program, if they really have a vision for Plateau, they should be out up and doing. Regardless of whether they are going in 6 months or in 3 months, they should try and make an imprint, but they can't make it. So there's a whole lot of confusion that is going there. And I believe with the judgment now by the Court of Appeal, which has decided the case of the legislative arm, it is very clear that we have the majority in the House, and the House will resume. I believe they will resume very soon and take charge of business, and then, of course, you know, for the good of all of us in the state.
Yes, before he left, you know, Moses Sule, the former Speaker, you know, he said quite a number of things. But what came to the, you know, fore, as far as the generality of Nigeria is concerned, you could see some people actually influencing the independence of the Plateau State House Assembly to the extent that, you know, Speaker, Deputy Speaker, they will all resign, and then somebody who is the only person from a different political party, YPP, emerge as Speaker, and then they now shoot the assembly completely.
You know, they are calling the resignation, but the fact is that the court has already removed them from office. Whether they call it resignation or not, we know that they have been removed by the court, which is, of course, lawful, and it's okay. So they have been members of the House no more. They have ceased to be members. Now, that's what I'm telling you about. The House is not independent in any way. It is not independent. It is under the control of the government. That is why they had to go to the government house and sit down and take decisions on matters affecting the House. However, the majority APC members will take over the House, and they will run things there in the House according to law, according to the rules of business in the House. They will do it. They will do it. I believe they will do it, and they will address all this issue of confusion. The lone man there under the platform of YPP knows that he's an illegal occupant of that office of Speaker. That's why he has not even acted. He has not done anything in the name of Speaker in that House. He knows that he's an illegal occupant there, and he will soon leave.
Yeah. Now, is it that the APC maybe will go to court to get maybe certain injunction which will facilitate the reopening of the State House of Assembly? Because, of course, now 16 APC members are all gone. You have more APC members now in the Assembly, but nobody to now call the Assembly back for us.
No, there is somebody to call the Assembly. There are people now. What I have said earlier is that we have 7 members of the APC in the House. Whatever the PDP are doing affects them only. It's illegal. First place. When you have ceased to be a member of the House, how can you sit down and take decisions for the House or on behalf of the House? You can't do it. They have ceased to be members. But the 8 members are enough to form a quorum to run the business of the House. Let me tell you this. They can call the business of the House and then, of course, take directions. They can elect a speaker pro tempore from among them who will swear in the members, new members. And of course, they can have the arrangement, and they make it the way it is according to the rules of the House. That's it. So they cannot prevent the 8 members from sitting and conducting business of the House. There are members that have been declared as legitimate members of the House by the courts, and the order of the court must be obeyed. This thing has to do with the character of the PDP. This kind of impunity and lawlessness is what led them to the mess they are in the state now. And that's why they are trying to throw the whole state in this state of confusion. I think it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. We have a way of addressing this issue, and we'll do it. Remember, in Plateau, we have had a situation in the past when 6 members took a decision on behalf of the House, and which was ruled, illegal by the court. 6 members are not enough to form a quorum in that House. You remember, in those days during the Daria regime.
Yes.
So we have a precedent. I think there are things that can be looked at so that we will address this issue.
Yes, but
Honorable
Moody, are you really worried that Plateau is becoming notorious for actually circumventing the law? And in the event APC asserts its influence in the State Assembly, what difference will it make to the people of Plateau?
It is unfortunate that the people who are now at the helm of affairs in the state are people who do not believe in the rule of law. If you recall, in the 8 years that Governor Lalong, ruled Plateau State as governor, there were no issues like this. It was a law-abiding government. We respected court orders if there were any, and we had it very smooth and easy. There was no interference in matters affecting the House of Assembly. The governor, being a former speaker, he knew and respected, the independence of the legislative arm of government. He respected them very much because he was a victim of this kind of interference in the past, how they tried to muzzle them into doing things that were not acceptable. So he respected the independence of the legislative arm and even the judiciary. He never interfered in their work, and that's why we had it peacefully and smooth, at that time. Now, with people that do not believe in that, you are having all this kind of impunity, lawlessness, and what have you. But I think with APC around, these things will be back to shape, and we'll take a proper direction. We'll give Plateau a proper direction. I'm assuring you this. Governor Nentawe will give Plateau a proper direction by the grace of God.
Okay. You served as special advisor to former Governor Simon Lalong, and now he has claimed seats for the Senate, and we've seen him collecting his certificate of return. Did that act of him collecting the certificate of return, having been appointed as minister by President Bola Tinubu, did it come to you as a surprise?
No, it's not a surprise. He has to collect it because even as DG, he contested for Senate. And that shows that it's probably his first wish to be a senator. And of course, as a seasoned legislator, it's not a surprise at all that he's going for the Senate. So as to what happens next, I won't preempt whatever decision he will take. He's one of the ministers that have the absolute confidence of President Bola Tinubu. He has the eyes and ears of President Bola Tinubu. President Bola Tinubu has confidence in him. So whether the president will prevail on him to remain in the cabinet, will allow him to go, I think this is one thing that I will not preempt. They are our leaders. I cannot dabble into that. Let's wait and see what happens in the next few days.
Yeah, okay. He served very well, and when he was Speaker of Plateau State House Assembly, many people have been saying that he's trying to do better at the national level. Before we go on break, do you agree to that?
I agree very well. He can serve both at legislative and executive levels very well. He's competent enough. He's an all-rounder. So wherever he decides to stay, he will make an impact.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sani Moody. We'll take a short break, and when we return, our conversation with you will continue. Please don't go away. Viewers, we'll be back shortly.
We started manufacturing leather since 1958. But the most important thing is that if the system is checked correctly, we won't have where we are now.
If somebody has depression, they may just be very irritable and unproductive in the office. So you find on average already about 1 in 4, 1 in 5 Nigerians already have a mental illness, a mental health condition that needs some form of attention.
No matter how good an economy is, if the federal government goes bust, believe me, everything in the economy is just a matter of time it will go bust. So first of all, about maybe slightly above, below 70% is in federal government securities.
If government has banned importation of fertilizer and states are doing it at the level of governance, but I believe that production and distribution of fertilizer should be left to the private sector.
This is the general multi-purpose card, and it has a chip here. So this chip is about 80 kilobytes. The one that you get from the bank for ATM is just 4 kilobytes. So this is like 20 times.
Welcome back. If you are just joining this Daily Politics on Trust TV, do well to follow the conversation across our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. We've been interfacing with Honorable Sani Moody, former special advisor to former Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State and a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress. Honorable, welcome back to the program. Yes, we're now going to the center. Yes, it's now over 5 months since President Tinubu, takes over the country.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, the performance of President Bola Tinubu so far. Yes.
That's very beautiful. It's wonderful. So far, so good. So far, so good. Very, very good indeed. The challenges, as stated at the beginning of this administration, were so enormous. The economy was on its knees. The society, generally was feeling almost, highly disturbed that, of course, things were not going the way they had expected. Of course, with the coming of the new administration, there were high hopes and excitement. Initially, there were challenges, especially with the removal of fuel subsidy, which of course we all know very well that it was a false, foundation or a pillar that we are resting on, which any moment could, collapse. Of course, resting an economy on subsidy is not really the ideal thing to do anywhere in the world. You can't, So President Tinubu was courageous enough to address that, and then the issue of foreign exchange was also addressed. Of course, it was not to the, it wasn't the way that people expected it to be. But then these are temporary challenges, temporary setbacks that if you look at it now, we're getting used to it, and it seems that we've reached the peak. Very soon we'll get to the level. Just 2 days ago, the president made a statement that by the grace of God, the price of fuel will come down in Nigeria. And that is it. We've reached a level that, of course, if by December the refinery in Port Harcourt starts producing oil, it will be well, inshallah. If by next year, Dangote refinery comes full stream, the issue of prices of fuel in Nigeria, of course, domestic price of fuel in Nigeria will be adequately addressed. But these are challenges, as I said earlier, that are always normal with any government that is starting. If we look back at 2015 when Buhari's administration came into being, the entire economy was almost down. There was the price of oil crashed in the world market. We went into recession. Everybody knows that for almost a year or more than that, we were in a recession, economic recession. so that everybody felt the bitter pill of it. After 1 or 2 years, we got back to some sense, the economy rebounds, and then of course we moved ahead. It has always been like this with every administration coming in Nigeria. The Obasanjo administration also experienced recession and some economic challenges in the beginning. After some time, it got its bearing properly. It seems that every administration that comes in has to clear 1 or 2, of those leftover issues of the previous administration. Everybody has his own style. Everybody has his own way of doing things. If you look at the team assembled by President Bola Tinubu around him, look at his own vision, look at his own focus, look at his own commitment to development, look at his own, wide network of, connections across the globe, which have so far been, showing positive results in terms of his contact with the outside world. You will agree with me that Nigeria is heading for a greater, time ahead, inshallah. We will get over all these challenges, and I believe the performance of the government is very well. If you look at it, in terms of balancing, most of this noise that usually accompany appointments and what have you are not being made. There could be some very few around, but if you look at it, most of the appointments are balanced. So that there is general harmony, at least within the system, and that makes for stability and progress.
Yes, hello. It sounds as if you are on the same page with Nuhu Ribadu and one of the Southwest governors who all said that, of course, Tinubu inherited a comatose economy. But Buhari also said he inherited a comatose economy. On the other side, many Nigerians are saying, why not Buhari and Tinubu come together and take Nigeria back to, maybe May 28, 2015. That is the way it was. They believe that they will have been better. What is your take on this?
No, you see, it is right that President Tinubu inherited challenges. But look at how he has managed in a dignified manner without making any noise. There are few noises now than it was in 2015. They've taken it with equanimity, they've been very calm, and they know that it is challenges that they have to address because we are Nigeria and we don't have to start apportioning blame on who and who has was done in the past. And this is one aspect that has distinguished the Tinubu administration. It's different from all the others in the past. Instead of apportioning or heaping blames on previous administrations, the Tinubu administration has not done that. Rather, it is focusing on its own vision, trying to address these challenges according to its own vision of what, of how it should rule the country or how it will rule the country. I think that is also a new, giving the country a new sense and a new direction, different from what it used to be in the past. We will not continue apportioning blames. Rather, we will focus ahead, forge ahead, and leave the past behind. That is what the Tinubu administration is doing, and I think Nigerians should salute it and commend it for this patriotic, approach.
Okay, what will you say about his appointments so far? Some people are saying it's lopsided. Is that correct?
No, they are not lopsided at all. If you look at it, virtually every geopolitical zone in the country has something on the table. The Northeast has the vice president, it has the NSA, it has the Minister of Agriculture, it has the Minister of Education, it has the Minister of Foreign Affairs. If you look at it in every sense of it, these are very strategic and vital positions that make people relevant in various levels of government, in the national security, in the field of agriculture, education, that's the social sectors, which are very important, key to the economy. The Northeast is well represented. If you look at the Northwest, it is the same thing. They have the ministers of defense. And most of the security challenges we are having in the Northwest, you can see that with Northwesterners in charge of the security apparatus, especially the military, of course, they will do well to address these issues that are confronting their own people. And you look at it again, we have the Minister of Environment from Kaduna addressing challenges like that. The Minister of Budget and National Planning is from the Northwest. Of course, it will address issues of economic development, economic stagnation in the Northwest, and so on. You look at the North Central, we have the SGF, a very key position, the engine room of the government. We have the Minister for Iron and Steel Development. The North Central is the backbone of steel development in this country in terms of what you have, resources that you need, especially raw materials and what have you, solid minerals and what have you. We all have this in the Northwest, in the North Central. I mean, most of the ministers are well positioned. We have the AGF. In the Southwest, Southeast, they all have ministers that will, of course, represent them adequately, give attention to their demands, to their needs, and as well enrich the cabinet by their own knowledge of their various communities. The communities they are representing, the states they are representing, the people they are representing. Most of them are versatile and they are well grounded in their respective states such that their inputs to the ESCO will add value and make their presence relevant.
Okay, finally, I want you to respond to this in less than 1 minute, Honorable Sani Moody. We have realized that the President will soon present his budget to the National Assembly. What key areas do you suggest that he should give attention to?
Hello? Hello?
Yes.
I didn't get that one.
Yes, I said there are pillars that the President will soon present the 2024 budget to the National Assembly. I want your take on key areas that you think will oil the economy quickly in the budget that he should concentrate.
I don't know, but I believe if you look at the manner President Tinubu has been showing concern about the plight of the citizens of this country, the social sector will be well addressed in the budget, I believe. Considering his concern about the plight of the farmer and the average Nigerian, the social sector will be well addressed. Issues of infrastructure, education, and health, and employment for the youth. I believe the social sector will be well taken care of in the budget. We should expect something like that. And then economic development. We've had economic stagnation for quite some time. I believe that's also an area where the president will apply his expertise in addressing issues there.
All right. Thank you very much.
And security subsector also.
Thank you. All right. All right. I wish we have more time, Honorable Sani Moody, to discuss more on the prospect of the 2024 budget, but time not on our side. We hope to have you some other time.
Thank you very much.
All right. We also been with, via Zoom with Honorable Sani Moody, former special advisor to former Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State, was also former Deputy Chairman of Just Not Local Government. And that's a wrap on today's package. We sincerely hope you found the conversation engaging and informative. And be sure to join Daily Politics Live, airing every weekday, and also our special package on Friday, during which we open our telephone line for you to comment on national issues. Once again, thank you very much for being with us. Bye-bye for now. I'm Hamza Idris.